Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of In My Opinion. My name is John.
My name is Alastair.
Yes, and welcome to another episode of In My Opinion.
Welcome.
Back,
Welcome
ladies
back.
and gentlemen. These few weeks has been drama-filled.
It has been drama-filled, very, very drama-filled.
Yeah.
That's why we are back here today, because there's so much drama.
So much
We
drama
have to be together to
that
talk
is
about
spilled out.
it. But before we get into the drama,
Alright.
let's talk about socials.
Yeah, of course.
As per usual, twitch.tv/overthinkSG is where we stream basically every Thursdays.
Yeah.
But we will be having a IMO live stream finale on the 4th of November. So do come and join us. We'll be having guests, we'll be hitting hot pot, we'll be having good vibes, chitting the chat. You guys can ask us questions. I'm running out of breath, but yes.
Yes, and also, the reason why today you notice that my background is a little bit different from last week's episode is because I am here back in Alastair's place for a very simple reason, because we're going to be taking a photo later, because we are getting some gear sponsored to us.
Everybody hype it up. But yes, we are basically being sponsored by Audio Technica, shout out Audio Technica. But basically go down to the link in the description below. We'll be putting all their social medias down there. We are using the 80 20 40s. It's really great. But thank you guys so much for following our Instagram, OverthinkSG, following our Telegram, OverthinkSG, subscribing on us on YouTube, go on Twitch. And because of you guys, we are able to get this.
Because of you guys, we now sound super delicious.
We do sound delicious. We are not delicious though.
We are delicious. We're just gonna sound delicious.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, anyway, enough waffling. Let's get into today's topic.
Yes, today's topic is a little bit juicy, and I do recognize a little bit of a problem if like just two guys talking about this. Otherwise, not really related to us.
That's true.
But basically, the topic is about this Google Sheet that was being initiated by this TikTok influencer. Yeah. I think her name is Bunkiki.
Her handle was pronounced Bunkiki. I don't exactly know how to spell it. We can link her socials in the description box below for y'all.
Yes. But basically
But not for you to send hate if you
don't
disagree.
Send hate. Yes.
Okay. That being said, once again, we are stepping into territory where the conversation may be a little bit uncomfortable for some people, but we always like to encourage people to have these kind of conversations in a very intellectual way. So even if you do air your opinions and you disagree with them, it's completely fine, because both of us, we enter into this kind of conversations with our minds ready to be changed, and we encourage you all to have these conversations as well, because they're important, but also go into it being intellectual and ready to have your minds changed as well.
Yes. Yes. But basically, so she basically started this Telegram chat where basically there are a bunch of girls who went on and shared bad experiences dating, whether is it like past boyfriends or dates or whatever. And they also created a Google Sheet. So the Google Sheet is what caused most of the problems. Yeah. So they created a Google Sheet with a lot of information, private information, or even like their own experiences with these guys. Yeah. And the private information, at least from what I know, I never seen the Google Sheet before.
Neither have I.
So it's probably private information like Instagram stuff and maybe even their names and all that stuff. Like that. So
for those of you that have seen it and would like to have a conversation with us about it, y'all can privately DM us and then we can discuss that, help us learn a little bit more.
Yes, but at least from what I know, the Google Sheet has been taken down. The Telegram chat no longer exists. Yeah. Because, they start to realize that this is maybe spiraling a bit out of control. Yep. And actually, the TikTok influencer also did an apology video. Yeah. Rather, a video, maybe just like trying to address the situation. Yeah,
I saw that.
So I will go and link that down below as well. But basically, we'll be talking a little bit about this whole thing, because it has been gaining quite a bit of like traction on TikTok. There's obviously the camp of people who are saying that like all of this is morally reprehensible and is legally wrong, and therefore it shouldn't have existed in the first place. Yeah. And then there's another group of people that are like, why is everyone so up in arms about this? Yeah. Remember SGR Nasi Lemak and how much worse that was. Yeah. Why is everyone so quick to shut this down when SG Nasi Lemak took like months and like took so much less attention away from everybody. Yep. So there was these two very distinct camps. And once again, I recognize the irony that two men are talking about this. Yes. But we are going to try to be as neutral / as calm as possible. Not calm, as unbiased as possible. Yeah. But if you guys think we are basically just being idiots, just tell us in the comments down below.
If we are wrong, okay, the thing about it is that I understand that this is a very sensitive topic. Yeah. Right? And I don't want to step on anyone's toes also. But that being said, when we share our opinions, we do recognize that we may say things that people disagree with. And that's completely fine. So I highly encourage y'all to have a conversation with us in the comment section. And so that we can at least come to a consensus, even if we do not completely agree with each other.
I agree. Yeah. I wish that we had a guest on, but because of COVID and everything, it was a bit difficult. But definitely we'll have a conversation with you guys in the comments down below, or like maybe on the Twitch, if you guys can come in on Twitch, we're more than happy to talk about it.
Correct.
But let's get into it.
Yeah,
I mean, we've been talking about this for 5 minutes already.
Yep.
Basically, what are your first thoughts, John?
Okay, my first thoughts is in isolation. Let's not talk about the existence of other things that happen in society or the SG Nasi Lemak or all that kind of thing, right? Because people like to say all these things within the same breath.
Yeah.
Right. In isolation, if you just look at the fact that this chat group spawned the Google Sheet, right?
Yes.
Right. The Google Sheet in itself is something that should not have happened.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
And like the pure reason being that like there ought not to be sort of like a name and shame kind of situation happening within the dating scene in Singapore.
Sure. Yeah, I agree.
Right? And that's where that's my general thoughts about it so far.
Okay, I think my thoughts are a little bit more conflicted.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I first saw that, I saw the TikTok before I saw the Google Sheet.
Right.
So I saw TikTok when it first got released, and everyone was like, oh my god, that's such a great idea. And that's why the influencer created in the first place. When I first saw the TikTok, my first thought was, actually, good idea lah. Go ahead. Like, it's like, I mean, I was just thinking back to, there's this one time we were discussing this guy who 5-timed a girl.
Yeah.
And basically he was being exposed on Instagram. And before he got exposed, not a lot of people knew about him, and therefore a lot of people fell into his trap. But only when he got exposed, that everyone was like, oh my god, let's be aware of this guy lah.
Yeah.
So I was thinking back to that. I was thinking back, like, if the Google Sheet existed and then this guy was in the Google Sheet, or like this Telegram, because of this Telegram group, this guy people knew about this guy and his like shenanigans, then you have like probably prevented a lot of hurt and a lot of harm.
Yeah.
So I was thinking along those lines. I was like, okay, yeah, go ahead. I didn't really think much about it.
Yeah.
Only after that, the Google Sheet came out,
Yeah.
and then they started to say like it might be doxing, it might be defamation and all that. Then I was like, oh shit, okay, it's a bit tough. Which brings me on to the next point, which is the question I posed to John before that. Like, are you uncomfortable with it because it's legally wrong? Are you uncomfortable with it because it's morally wrong? Which is, I think, to me, two slightly different things.
Yeah.
But legally, I think we can both agree it's probably very, very, at the very least, grey area.
Correct.
Right? Like, if at worst, it's probably doxing.
Yeah.
At the very least, it's like uncomfortably there.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's tough for me, especially because my moral compass is like almost tied to how ethical it is.
Yeah.
How legal it is, I mean.
Yeah.
So it's a bit tougher for me because I know that, to me, I would rather not break the law lah.
Yeah.
So if it's doxing or if it's defamation, I'll be like, okay, don't do that shit.
Yeah.
Like, then maybe just don't do it at all.
Yeah.
But I was trying to separate it a little bit. And in fact, I asked the chat this in the Telegram chat. Let me just pull it up right now, the poll. But basically, I asked them, like, what are your thoughts about this? And I was quite surprised, actually. Most of the people, actually, it was quite split. I gave 4 options. I didn't find anything wrong with it. I think it's only morally wrong. I think it's legally wrong, but not morally wrong. And I think it's both legally wrong and morally wrong.
Yeah.
And the two that was the most popular was, I think it's morally wrong and also legally and morally wrong.
Yeah.
But the others, right, were not too far away. So there's some people who really don't find it wrong at all, and some people who don't find it morally wrong at all. So John, what are your thoughts about it?
Okay, so this is where it gets really complicated. Okay, so legally, let's just put it out there that without a doubt, a lot of these things have some legal issues.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So whether it's right or wrong is also not for me to decide, right? But if you were to ask me based on my very limited knowledge of the law, right, it feels like it's legally wrong because, like you mentioned, there's doxing and defamation, which already is two deterrences that should have already stopped the thing, should have prevented it from even happening.
Yeah.
That's one.
I agree.
Now, secondly, about whether it's morally right or wrong, right? I think, I'm of the opinion that it's morally wrong.
Okay, why?
Okay, like I'll give you an example. So just now you painted a very good picture about how the guy who 5-timed the girls, right?
Yeah.
And then people were like, oh no, he received coverage. Everyone is like now gonna be able to be careful of him, all that kind of thing.
Yes.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Right. But the creation of a Google Doc like that, right, reaps that benefit.
Yes.
For sure. Right. But the issue is that it also is a double-edged sword, right? Because for people who are unverifiably put there, they will henceforth receive the same treatment as someone who is deservingly put there, quote unquote deservingly put there.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Right.
I think that's a problem that we both recognize.
That is the biggest quote unquote moral issue that I have with it. Because like you would have created a space, right, whereby you potentially potentially put people who don't deserve certain type of treatment in a certain way. And the worst side of it is that it potentially puts a platform, a lynching platform for people who are completely innocent to be wrongfully targeted.
I agree.
That's one thing lah.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's where it is the most morally grey for me, lor. And I mean, if you really want to stretch the logic a little bit, right? in that sense, there's a certain level of consent that was taken away from these names, these people who were put into the document,
Okay, yeah,
right?
sure.
A certain level of consent in terms of their social lives, in terms of who they are,
Okay,
and the fact that we as a society have been struggling with this concept of consent, right?
mm.
We cannot just because of a act of convenience or act of vengeance or act of whatever, right? Take away people's consent in this sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do agree with the first point. I
Mm.
think that was the one, like, I guess, problem that I recognized after I gave it some thought.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, of course, there are some people who are on there that really
Right.
might be innocent. Like,
Yes.
or maybe the things that they did were maybe interpreted very, very wrongly.
Mm.
That's possible.
Mm.
Like, it might be a case, and in that case, they might have faced the consequences even though they did not do anything.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking back to the same thing, the five timing thing.
Yeah.
Like, if the only difference between that and the Google Sheet is that Google Sheet is only corroborated by one person.
Yeah.
So if I put it down there, I'm the one person and I said that this person is an asshole.
Right.
Everyone just trusts that the guy is an asshole.
Yeah.
But the 5 people thing, of course, there were a whole bunch of people that came out and said that this person is an asshole.
Yeah.
So is it, to me, it was the morality of it that didn't change.
Yeah.
It's just that it's a bit more verifiable because there are more people. We had
Right.
bad experiences in that same
It's
time.
like a crowdsourcing in that sense.
Yeah, but then in that case, the Google Sheet was meant to be that as well. Because if there's, they scroll through a Google Sheet, maybe you'll see someone like, oh my god, I also beat this guy. Oh my god, he really was an asshole. He'll just
Yeah,
add on
yeah.
to that. So honestly speaking, right, I didn't find it that bad. Even though I do think that that's something that they probably should have thought about.
Yep.
Like, I think that's a thing that they might want to address
Yeah.
beforehand.
Yeah.
And maybe because of that, it spiraled a bit out of control. But other than that, right, just based on the pure, other than that part,
Yeah.
I don't think that this was super morally wrong.
Yeah.
Especially the second point you mentioned. What was the second point you
About
mentioned? Oh my
consent.
goodness. About consent, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I just blanked off.
Yeah, no worries.
The consent part, I there's no way that you can get consent from this guy if the guy messed you up.
Yeah.
So as much as I think consent is important,
Yep.
at the same time, you will never get consent. So in that case, are you always forever silenced? By the guy, because
Yeah.
the guy hurt you.
Mm.
You have every right to say that he hurt you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if I still expect you to get consent from that guy to share that he hurt me, then it's not fair to that girl either way. You know?
Correct. No, but like you see, you must view it from both sides of the equation.
Yeah.
What if there is a tool that can be used for good is also a tool that can equally be misused,
Yes, I agree.
right? So we must always look at the creation, right, without being colored by the lens of both parties. One will be like, if let's say I'm a victim,
Yes.
and I use this tool to get my story straight and get people all together, right? That is where the tool serves its purpose.
Yes.
But on the flip side of it, or why this creation is dangerous, is that because it's not moderated in a way that it does not allow it to be misused. It can be misused.
It can be misused.
And
yes.
as a result, right, that becomes a bad thing. Now, I like what you mentioned earlier about how, like, you know, girls collaborating and matching their stories to find out who the bad person is, or for that matter, you don't even need to say girls, anyone doing that kind of situation,
doesn't
right,
matter. Yeah.
is quote unquote, like you said, not that bad. But I think that is not the right way to view these kind of things.
Okay.
Because things that are not that bad suggest that like it's a hierarchy of bad.
Fair.
When it actually comes to these kind of things, right, most of the time, we always talk about not wanting to race to the bottom.
Yeah.
Right? Bad is bad. There is no...
We're not trying to fight who's the
bad.
better.
Yeah, correct. Who is
Yeah.
more bad? There's no point in that, right?
Yeah.
Bad is bad. So how can we improve this situation? Now, people always mistake the sentiment that like, oh, it's bad, so let's do away with it completely.
I agree. Yeah. I don't think.
Or like you were wrong. No, bad does not necessarily mean wrong.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It could be better handled so that it served the right purpose only.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
and that's the crux of that was the missed opportunity here.
Mm.
But now that opportunity is missed, what was created in its state was something dangerous.
Mm.
And in this dangerous space, right, I don't know what is inside the Google Sheet. I have never seen
I have
it.
never seen it.
right?
Yeah.
But like I said, falsehoods could be inside.
It could be.
And other things like, for example, body shaming could be inside.
Could be. Yeah. Yeah. Very much.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that's where it becomes very problematic. Right?
I
And then
agree.
the argument that sometimes that surfaces, right, is like, oh, if you never do anything bad, why you worry about it? And it's like that in itself is the most problematic argument that we've been arguing, that we've been trying to counter
whole
since the
time.
start of the 2020s.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think the argument is good.
Yeah.
I mean, we have seen it once in a while. I won't pretend and say that it's the most prevalent argument because I'm
Yeah.
quite sure most people understand that that's a
Correct.
bit problematic thing to say. But there are some people who say like, oh, if you are not if you've never been an asshole, why are you worried
Yeah.
about being on the thing in the first place?
Yeah,
But it's not. That's kind of defeating the point.
exactly.
I mean, you drew a little bit of a parallel
to
with-
race, right?
Yeah,
To
but
race and police violence,
yes.
right? Which is something that in the world has gained a lot of attention because like some ignorant people will be like, oh, if you've never done anything, why are you afraid of the police? But that's not the point.
That's not a point. You
Yeah.
shouldn't be having that fear, and you shouldn't be something that you even have to go through.
Exactly.
And so in that case, I understand a little bit, but
Yeah.
at the other end, I can understand that there's also a little bit of a power dynamic difference.
For sure. I
So-
was gonna get to that.
Exactly. So like I think that's why many many people were thinking about this
Yeah.
as like a big win for like women in Singapore also
Yeah.
because like for the most part I would say Singapore is a pretty patriarchal society generally lah.
Yeah. Right.
Not super, but
Maybe patriarchal is not the right word.
Yeah.
A easier term for people to understand would be like a society where men have some privileges over women.
I would say a lot more privileges over women.
It depends.
but yes.
It depends on what
Depends
kind
on
of
where,
context also.
depends on your perspective. But I think we are a lot more privileged.
Right.
And that's inherent power dynamic already. So by doing this, you're going against the power dynamic.
Yeah.
So there is a little. I think that does give it some merit because of the fact that it's trying to, I guess, gain back some of the power
Yeah.
that was otherwise not given to them.
Correct.
Because of society and because there are shitty people out there.
Yeah.
Whether or not we like it or not, there are shitty people out there.
Mm.
And as much as the Google sheet said that okay, maybe there are some people who are very innocent who are on there,
Yeah.
or who are wrongfully accused.
Yeah.
There are also plenty of people who are assholes there on there,
Yeah.
who are actually exposed, and people now know not to go get to them.
Yeah.
So I do think that like what you said about like the fact that just because it's bad doesn't mean it has to be you have to do away
Yeah,
completely.
correct.
I think that's a very very
It just has
point.
to be handled in a way that
Yeah.
it cannot be misused.
Yes.
It's like I give you an example. We talk about like knives.
Yeah.
Right? This is a perfect analogy here.
Yeah.
Knives were created for cooking.
Yeah.
But because of its ability to cleave meat, people have used knives to cleave people up.
Yes.
And that's where the regulation has to be very strict in terms of how big you can, all that kind of thing. And even until now, we're still trying to control that in terms of like traveling, all that kind of thing.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So this is where we talk about preventing this situation. This is what could have been done. But now the situation has already happened. So there's no point barking up that tree. Right? What we should instead talk about is like the situation in itself.
Yes.
The fact that this was created. Right? And like one of the things that happened was that people tend to make this comparison between this and the whole SG Nasi Lemak saga that happened last year.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So people like to compare and say that like, oh, where was the level of outrage and energy
When the SG Nasi
when
Lemak
SG
thing
Nasi
came
Lemak
out.
has happened? You all don't really care. I saw this Instagram story about how you all don't actually really care about
About the doxing or
about whatever.
Yeah,
You just
yeah,
want
yeah.
to shit on women or all that kind of thing. That creates a very dangerous precedent.
That
That like men and women are against each other or are different. Let me just put it out there that if there's one thing that this incident highlight, right, is that men and women are the same and that we're all assholes to each other.
okay.
Just
fair
in
enough.
different ways.
Fair enough.
Let me paint a picture.
Yeah.
Okay, let me paint a picture. So like for example, we talk about the very stereotypical online horny men.
Yeah. Which exists.
resulted in the creation of SG Nasi Lemak, right?
Yeah, which is very, very reprehensible.
That
Not
one-
just morally,
that one
but
we have-
legally.
We have spoken it at length with
Yes.
and people have gone to jail for it, and we all know that
Yes.
it's a bad thing to do. Right?
Not just bad, but Jesus Christ. But yes.
Yeah. Open shut. That's it.
Yeah,
Bad.
yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Now this is created, and people like to compare that. Hey, how come SG Nasi Lemak you all never show so much outrage, right? If anything, right, it has further highlighted that not only were people capable of heinous things like SG Nasi Lemak, right? On the flip side of the equation, I would say most of these ladies who are showing these guys are probably straight ladies, straight women,
Okay, yeah.
right? Straight cisgendered women, right?
Sure.
I don't know. Okay, I'm just
Might not be lah, who knows, yeah.
whoever they are, the majority
yeah.
is, right? Are also assholes towards men.
Wow, I don't know, man. I don't know.
They're just
I don't-
assholes in different ways. Because like just now I was painting the analogy about how the horny online male created this nudes sharing chat group,
Yeah.
which is problematic as heck, right?
Yes. That one I agree. Yes.
But in an effort to try to consolidate defenses against shitty men, they accidentally created a monster, which goes to show that women have the same capacity to create monsters as well. So in that aspect, right? In that one aspect, okay?
Yeah.
Funnily enough, we are more similar than we care to admit.
I would stop short
Yeah.
from like comparing it directly because
Okay. Let me just clarify also.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not trying to say that they are they're equal levels in terms of like goodness or badness or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that what I'm trying to say when I say this is that both parties or straight men and straight women are very capable of being shitty to each other. And that is the one thing that makes me the most uncomfortable.
Yeah, okay. I would stop short from saying shitty though.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I still hold the opinion that
Yeah.
this whole like Google Sheet Telegram group thing
Yeah.
was legally wrong, but morally, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there was anything wrong with it. Just morally.
Okay.
Like pure, if the legal system is out of the way, if you're in a
Yeah.
caveman system where the only system of justice is the public opinion, court of public
Yeah.
opinion, right? I don't think it's bad.
Why?
Because even though there might be the problem of like people being like, I guess, innocently like accused and everything.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that was I do think that like despite one problem in the system, doesn't mean
Yeah.
the whole system is flawed.
Yes.
And this goes with every other system.
Yeah.
And this is also one of them.
No, but at the same time, you must understand that like for something like this to exist, right,
Yeah.
with the court of public opinion, and you mentioned about how morally it's not wrong, right?
Yeah.
Let's follow your train of thought here.
Yeah.
So, what happens to these people that end up on the sheet? Let's say we talk about five-timer guy who
Sure.
appear in the news and everything.
Yeah.
Will there ever be a day where five-timer guy can be rehabilitated back into society?
Okay. So that's okay.
That's where the moral thing is something that I cannot agree with. Because most of the time you talk about things that are legally wrong, when they end up in the legal system, they will go through the ringer, and then after the legal system will eject them out into society, supposedly with not only vengeance obtained, a rehabilitation effort will be put in place.
Sure.
This falls into the same problem with the whole court of public opinion thing. The same goes for cancelling, all that kind of thing. You step into the lynch mob spits you out, you are never rehabilitated, you are forever there. And if this Google sheet still exists, you are forever still on the sheet. Your name, your socials, everything, and your quote unquote crime.
Okay.
5 years later, what if this person and this sheet somehow still exists, but this person will have been a very different person from who they were 5 years ago?
Yeah, I agree.
Right? But their future prospective partner or someone picks up on that sheet. And from then on, they are perpetually tarnished.
Yeah, okay. I think that
that's where I see it's not fair. Because and if we take this conversation, this entire explanation out and we extract it, right, to extrapolate it to the SG Nasi Lemak situation, the exact same thing has happened. And that's what makes it so heinous, right? You have forever tarnished these people who appear in these images. Forever.
Yes.
So this is where the parallel meets.
It's just in a
this is
different
where
way
where it happens in parallel.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
This is what I mean by both are bad.
Okay. But I do think that, like, if you think about it, okay, so these people have been hurt.
Yeah.
Right? These women have been hurt one way or another.
Yep.
As I'm assuming that whatever they put in the Google sheet is true. Which I'm more inclined to believe it is.
Yeah. Okay,
So,
let's just go on the train of thought that is true. Right.
Okay, they have been hurt.
Yeah.
And they have been caused a significant amount of emotional pain and trauma, etc.
Yes.
And then what is that? How is the guy going to ever like receive this feedback and get the rehabilitation that you talked about?
Okay. Very simple.
Yeah.
Right? In an emotionally mature situation, before I go deeper, let me just put in this statement as a blanket answer first.
Yeah.
In an emotionally mature relationship, right, this conversation will happen as a conversation and then will be properly open and closed.
Yes. But we all know that doesn't happen.
But we all know that doesn't happen for two main reasons.
Yeah.
First, because it happened while people were emotionally immature. Secondly, by the time they're emotionally immature, they're not with the same person.
Sure.
Right?
Or maybe they're just not, maybe they just don't hear it. Like, I mean...
No, they may not hear it now.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not trying to make excuses for people, but let's just go follow on a train of thought about how I mentioned about how people 5 years later are very different from who they are 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Both of us, right, we have done shitty things in our youth.
Yes.
And
100%.
we have had shitty things done to us in our youth.
100%. Yes.
Right? Now, if you were to be able to revisit when you were that age,
Yeah.
right, when you were not the best version of yourself,
Yes. Yeah.
and then you exist in the same age where the Google Sheets existed, and then you end up on there because of that shitty thing that you do.
I wouldn't be surprised if I was, but
And then
sure.
you fast forward to now, and then are you able to live it down?
that someone
There's
that
someone out there that forever, right?
will know that will think that I'm an asshole.
Yes. Not just think that you are a quote unquote, it could be anything,
That's tough. That's tough.
right?
Yeah, that's tough.
And then you will start, what will happen is that you start seeing ghosts, right? Especially if you're anxious or paranoid.
Yeah.
You start thinking like, oh no, everyone thinks that I'm this way every time. And how quickly, right, can someone like that, right, devolve into further bad behavior because they have accepted that, internalized that that's who they are.
Then what's the alternative?
The alternative is very simple.
Yeah.
Okay. We need, okay, to find a way to emotionally educate our youth so that we don't have to have this kind of situations where people are being assholes to each other in different ways. I use the term assholes to each other because like all kinds of incidents point towards people choosing the not high road.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Sure.
And that's where it gets really tricky. Right? Because justice can never be obtained in this kind of situation. Right?
Yeah.
What can instead be obtained here? I know that's the main thing that a lot of people find very difficult to accept. Justice will probably not be found. You will probably not get the vengeance that you want.
Unfortunately,
and the bad person will quote unquote never get their comeuppance.
Yeah.
Which is very unfortunate. But what is the opportunity here, right? What's the opportunity here? The opportunity here is to, instead of creating a future ruled by fear, we have the opportunity to shape the culture to be better instead.
I agree. But at the same time, I do understand why they would think that this is the only way. Because
I will not discount that as well, because I have to say, if you are put in a situation where a partner was shitty to you, and like either cheated on you or basically all sorts of heinous crimes onto you.
Yeah, there's no way to like hold them accountable legally. There's no way to do anything.
You think about it, will we have reacted any different? Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, we will probably do the same thing.
Exactly. But the thing about it right now is that we cannot, as much as it's very funny to say, right? For lack of a better word, funny to say. We cannot think at that level.
Sure.
As broader society, we cannot be sort of become swept up by this whole climate of anger or hatred.
Okay. I mean, I'll let's just read some of the Twitch chat actually. Guanzi says, in a parallel vein, what about the future victims who are then forever traumatized instead? Which I think is a very, very good question actually. Yeah. Because like, as much as you want to give these people like who have done wrong, as we did in the past, a way to change and be better people and better boyfriends or dates or whatever. There's also at the same time a flip side where these victims are having emotional pain and emotional trauma that they will probably never be able to recover from.
So this comment actually caught me off guard a little bit because I do not have a good answer for that. Yeah. Right. But you see, right, the potential, I believe they're talking about potential future victims caused by these perpetrators. Yeah. Right. Which is very true.
It's
right?
true.
But in a world where we want to be equal and fair, okay, it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. But we have to treat these perpetrators equally too.
Sure.
So in an effort in society, because we do not have a good answer to that yet, right? For now, the answer may be to let them have space to become better people, even if they accidentally create new victims. And that's why I say it's very flimsy.
That is such... Well, I cannot in good conscience say that.
Think about it. Because if we follow the legal system, right, which most of the time try to cover these as systematically as possible, right? They'll catch these people, they put them into prison or whatever, right? When someone commits a crime, who's to say they won't do it again?
Yeah, sure. Of
so
course.
Same here. The only difference is that like you put them on a Google sheet, right? Who's to say they won't continue?
But then doesn't mean that we don't have jail, you know?
No, that's true. Yeah. But we have the other thing that comes after jail.
What? I don't get it.
Right? Where they try to destigmatize the jail.
Okay.
Which is a very active effort, and government pours a lot of money into it so that people who were criminals and are properly rehabilitated can actually get their second chance. When these kind of things happen in broader society, as much as we worry about the creation of new victims, they never get their second chance.
Yeah, but okay, then in that case, if the Google Sheet came with the asterisks of like, these are my experiences, please do not like, I guess, this if they have changed, maybe this is 5 years ago, maybe they have changed, just be wary that they have done this before. Yeah. Maybe you want to be a bit more cautious when you want to date these people instead.
And that's
if
why
that came with that, would it be better for you?
That's why I think, right, what happened was that, okay, I have no good answer for that either again, because this is so tough for me to properly break it down like this. Yeah. But if you ask me, in a world of infinite bads, right? That is the one small good that may try to flip it around. But is it still overall a bad thing to do? It is still overall a bad thing to do.
Wow, I don't know I
Yeah.
cannot in good conscience say it's the same
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like personally, right, I think that if that Google Sheet came with that asterisk, right, it would have made, I think, a lot of things a little bit better. Because as much as we do agree that there are a lot of problems with like
Yeah.
the legal system, let's say throwing people to jail, and then because of that they got stigma, you're not leaving them room to grow, everything like that.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that jail in and of itself is a bad idea.
No. Let me explain why.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is the whole point of a legal system? A legal system is meant so that the society or the state you exist in, right, exacts vengeance for you. Acts for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the thing about it is that jail and all that kind of thing, right, is agreed upon by society, by democracy, right, to punish in a way that you get your vengeance.
Sure. Yeah.
When it comes to these kind of things that happen in the court of public opinion, nothing has been put in place. No system has been put in place in order to punish fairly.
Okay, yeah, I agree. That one I agree.
Right?
Yes.
So without a fair punishment, there is no fair rehabilitation. This is a classic example of a lynch mob.
Yes.
Now, I know this is very hard to sort of like hear.
Okay.
Because it feels like I am trying to argue for the perpetrators.
Yeah.
But
It
as
does.
much as we always want to protect the victims,
Yeah.
we also don't want to create more victims.
I agree. That one I agree.
So
Yes.
this is where I felt like it has shaken my worldview quite a bit, because when I was speaking to some lawyers for this particular shoot, right, they mentioned something that has always stuck with me for the longest time, and I've always tried to use that as my guiding principle whenever I feel like I'm judging someone.
Yeah.
Right? And that is that everybody deserves a fair day in court.
Yes, I agree.
So if that is the approach of the legal system, within society, we must try to be as close to that paragon as possible.
Okay. Okay.
So you think about it, when everyone deserves a fair day in court, it means we must argue for these perpetrators with the same level of gusto as we do protecting our victims. I said this many times. I believe you heard this sentence.
Yeah.
I
I have.
So you talk about this guy that has 5 times the girls appeared in the news, blah, 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 right? He's the most classic example and easy to scapegoat in this conversation.
Yeah.
Right? What has happened after? Nothing. Society as large as more or less abandoned him.
I mean, we have no idea where he is, or what he thought things about it, and everything.
Exactly.
To be fair,
which is
he might be just chilling now. Who knows?
But like, which is an example of the fact that after much ado about nothing, because after that, nothing happens.
Yeah.
Right? He comes out of the system, maybe potentially damaged even more, and never properly allowed to become the better person that he has the potential to be.
Sure.
And that's the one argument that I have against why I think it's morally wrong to even have this Google Sheet. Now, that being said, if this moderated community, right, was moderated well and people were allowed to like, okay, we meet up and then we have a good conversation about our dating experience, right, over certain people, right?
Yeah.
That is better.
Yeah.
Why? Because people are allowed to have conversations about their experiences.
Okay.
When you put people on a hit list like this,
Yeah.
let's just put it, let's be fair here. Okay?
Yeah.
It's a hit list,
Okay.
right? There is no conversation about it. It's a hit list.
So the conversation, even if it's just between the girls, let's say a group, let's say I'm imagining an alcoholic anonymous.
That what I feel, right, will be the most ideal compromise, the best way to maintain the moral high ground but still achieve the safety in groups that is actually the main objective of this.
But why is that better than having it through the internet?
Because when you have a hit list, there is no conversation or justification about anything.
Okay.
There is no context. There's no finding out whether there's another side of the story.
Mm.
Now let's put it out there. Some of these people that contributed to these Google Sheets don't care whether what gender they are or who they are, what they identify as. Is there a non-zero chance that there is at least one psycho in there?
Like, okay, yeah,
that has
of
contributed
course.
to the sheet.
Definitely, yeah, 100%. Maybe
And
some
this is
of it might
why
be false.
this is why the conversation is important.
But I think
right?
they're having conversation amongst other girls who are in the same group. I think of it as I actually don't think it's that much different, to be honest. It does make me feel a bit more comfortable. I don't know why. But if you break it down, it's the Google Sheet is essentially doing the same thing.
No, but the Google Sheet does not encourage conversation. You know what I mean?
Okay.
What will happen is that it creates a hit list, and people will be like, "Oh my god, 100 names." Will you go and read through and find which one and who contributed which one so that I can have a conversation? But no, it'll be like 100 names. Control F. Tan Ah Seng. Oh.
But it does have a description of what the guy did, so
That's a hit list.
I don't know, man. I don't. Okay, I do think that it's a lit. I do think that if the conversation happened in like Alcoholic Anonymous situation, I don't know why I will feel a little bit better.
No, because I tell you why you feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's because these people have a chance to be forgotten. It's because these
I think
people
so. I
have
think
a
that's what it
chance to
is.
become someone else. When your Tan Ah Seng ends up on this hit list, he is forever Tan Ah Seng molester.
Fair enough. Okay.
Do you see that's where it gets damn dangerous, because this Tan Ah Seng will never be anyone else anymore.
Okay, fair enough. I want to shout out to April.
Yeah.
April said that I think she said, I saw a screenshot, they only gave the full name and a reason for good or bad experiences. Most reasons stated as sexual assault. Okay, yeah, we didn't have that context as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what makes me very, very, very torn as well.
Yeah.
Because like at the same time, I hear you and I understand and I get it, because there's a lot of like we want to give the benefit of the doubt to the perpetrators as well. That they have been better and they have become better people.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, we shouldn't deny them the chance to be normal human beings again. As long as we of course have to give the victims their own like I guess way to heal and everything.
Yeah.
Which is a whole other fucking problem, because how are the victims gonna heal? But at the same time, there are of course these things that I'm pretty sure most of them are true.
Yeah.
And that is damn tough, because I cannot like say that like don't say your story, because you should probably say your story at the end of the day, because it's your hurt and it's your pain.
It's true. But at the same time also, I do want to caution about this train of thought, because I think we're missing a lot of angles here.
Okay.
Like firstly, you must understand, for those of you that are watching, we have not seen the sheet. But if we were to look at, like say, the Singapore Legal Advice Instagram page where a post came out about this, right? There is a screenshot which I hope is not from the page. I hope it's not from the Google Sheet, okay? But there's a screenshot that mentioned that one of the things that they identified as like a person is small PP.
Okay.
That's body shaming.
Sure.
For no context and no reason. Now, what will happen, right? If this is our Tan Ah Seng character, and this small PP reasoning is true, or rather, not whether he's physically small or not is subjective, but he appeared as such.
Yeah. Tough.
What is his crime?
Tough. That's tough. Yeah, I agree.
What is this person's crime, right?
Man, I feel like it's one of those situations that it was such a great idea in theory.
It was such a great idea.
It was such a great idea in theory. That's why when I first heard it, I would say one more time, I didn't think there was anything wrong with it.
Yes.
And even to this day, right, even though there's all these issues, right, I still think there's some merit to that idea. But man, maybe the execution just kind of fell short.
I think what happened here is that this idea was a bit ahead of its time.
It probably was.
Okay. And done too hastily, right?
Yeah.
In a bid to create a safe environment. What was spawned instead was something potentially dangerous.
I agree.
And like you can argue until the cow comes home about potentially dangerous, blah 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 blah. As long as it's potentially dangerous, it must be regulated.
Yes.
Right? We can't discover tomorrow that if we throw two paper clips together and it explodes, we can't just say, oh, people won't do that.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So that's where it becomes need to. I mean, look at how quickly e-scooters were regulated. Not quickly enough, someone died.
Yeah.
Same for here, right? Not quickly enough. Now, that being said, like I totally agree with you, right? That this is actually a fantastic idea. But unfortunately, that's where it is right now, because nobody has a good answer on how it could have been better executed. Besides better moderator. Better moderator is very vague, right?
Yeah, and I don't know. But I do want to address the other part about like there are some like I guess people online or TikTok who are saying that like many men who are just upset at this because they feel like they're insecure, or maybe they feel like they might be on the list as well.
Yeah.
I do think that even if it's the minority, might be a bit true. And I do think that like if
as in they are upset because of these worries.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do think that there probably is there are people who are probably a bit worried about that.
Right.
And I do urge like people out there, if your whole concern about this is that you might be on it, to like maybe reflect a little bit more. Because I don't know, man. I think it's a bit tough.
That's a little problematic, you see. Because like that is potentially, right?
Yeah.
If let's say someone who has actually done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
But may have been verbally threatened by a woman in their life like that.
Oh, that's true. I never think about that.
And then after that, right?
That's true.
Two podcasters on the internet be like, you need to go and do your self-reflection when actually they are the victim. You see from my point. That's where it gets really dangerous. You know?
Okay.
And for all you know, right? For all you know, because it's trending on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Who's to say no upper primary, lower sec people are already doing that.
What do you mean?
Threatening their male counterparts when they
They'll
don't
put
get
it
what
on
they want.
negotiates. Oh fuck, man.
Who's to say that has not happened? You see, this is what I
Fuck,
mean.
bro.
Right? This is what I mean by
Fuck, bro.
damn dangerous,
I
right?
didn't even think of a blackmail.
Damn dangerous. Because guys who have never seen this shit.
Yeah.
And how many % of your head right now
Hmm.
believes that the shit still exists?
I don't think it exists anymore. You think it still does?
I have a small part of me that believes someone made a copy and it still continues,
As you
but
guys
it's kept
can
under wraps.
Really?
Now,
I don't think it exists anymore. I don't know.
but whether it exists or not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If I can perceive it, that it probably does exist,
Hmm.
someone probably will also think the same way too. And all we
Wow.
need is the perfect mix, right?
I didn't even think about the blackmail part, dude.
Exactly. And
I
that's
didn't
why I
think
mean
about
by
the
it
blackmail
becomes
part.
very dangerous.
Okay, but I do think that honestly speaking, I do think that there are people who disagree with this.
Yeah.
That their intentions probably isn't in the right place.
Correct.
And I do urge to reflect a little bit more
Yeah.
about why you disagree with this
Mm.
instead of just blindly disagreeing with it.
Yep.
Because as much as, of course, there are a lot of very, very valid worries, like as John has mentioned.
Yeah.
If you're being blackmailed against it,
For that one person, it becomes worth talking about.
it's worth, exactly.
Just for that one
Just for
person.
the one person, it's worth talking about this and the potential repercussions of it. But at the same time, there are people out there who are disagreeing
Of
with
course.
it blindly and blindly
Yeah.
hating and not like getting
Yes.
the whole point of this.
Yeah.
And in that case, I do think that it is important for you to maybe think about like, oh, why am I so against this?
Mm.
And maybe is there any way that I can help to reconcile that?
Mm.
Because I'm not saying that you're a bad person.
Yeah.
Because I'm quite sure there was a period of time where maybe I would have been a bit afraid of this and very angry about it as well.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's important to like start to break down why you feel that way.
Yeah. No, that's the thing about it. I feel that like I've reached a point in my life where I am neither afraid nor angry at it.
Hmm.
I'm just like very disappointed at the state our society has reached, where given the opportunity to create things like this happen and things like SG Nasi Lemak happens. Now
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are putting in the argument that like why is no one talking about SG Nasi Lemak with the same level of anger and outrage.
Yeah.
Right. I just want to put it out there to whoever is watching firstly that like when we compare these kind of things in terms of like energy level and reception, it's not fair to mention these kind of things.
Yeah.
First things first, SG Nasi Lemak is a terrible thing, and definitely I wish we were able to talk more about it. In fact, in future, if this saga somehow still continues, we may even talk about an episode about things like nudes and consent.
We have talked about it before
Yeah.
multiple
But
times.
I think more extensively.
We should lah.
Yeah. But at the same time also in a fit of rage to say that like people are just interested in shitting on women because of this is also not fair. Because there are also a lot of potential dangers that exist within a creation like this. So, like I was saying at the start of the episode, okay, if this were one of our classic "Am I the asshole" kind of conversations,
Everyone's
right,
yes.
I am just gonna put it out there that no one's the asshole, but everyone sucks here. Every fucking one of us can do
Life
better.
do be sucks.
Like there is literally no one. Okay, maybe for the LGBTQ,
What I mean?
they are above this in this one particular conversation. They are above
mean,
it. But let's be real, okay?
who knows?
As long as you're a human, you probably suck in some way, and that's why I think everyone sucks here because like from something wholesome, right? It became a fight between genders.
I agree. Man, but okay.
And, okay, by nobody's fault. I'm not trying to
No
say
one's
that
fault. Yeah.
that like women banding together created a bad thing. That's not what I'm trying to say here. I'm just trying to say that like as people, right, we need to come together to keep things that are wholesome.
Yeah. Okay. A small suits you also says this point. I feel like the solution in society is society stepping up and holding men accountable so women don't feel the need to do things like this. While it's the 21st century, women still face an unfair advantage in the men's world. Laws and the court system are rigged for men and everything but what society deems a woman's role. In everything but what society deems a woman's role. Sorry. I do agree that like a lot of there are ways that our society has fallen short.
Yeah. Okay, but a small suits you. Thank you so much for this comment. But I would like to also reiterate that like it's true. We do have to create a culture where men behave better.
I
But that
agree.
being said, also right, we also need to create a culture where we hold women accountable for things that women do as well. That being said, in the legal system, there are a lot of things that favor the women as well. There's a women's charter, but there's no men's charter.
Sure.
if infidelity is not proof, men have to do things like alimony that women may not have to during a divorce. So this is where we cannot just argue about men becoming better. We must argue about society becoming better. Right? So you talk about what can men improve, right? Very simple. Actually, in fact, right, if we talk about the argument for improving for men, it's easier because men, I hate to say it, we seem to be simpler assholes, simpler in thinking kind of assholes.
What do you mean?
Things like consent, things like pictures.
I do think that we fall short a lot.
We do fall short.
We fall short so much, and
Yeah.
there's so much that we can do, like not just sex education wise,
Yeah.
but the whole system. There are things that we can improve, and that's
Yeah.
something that I will never take away. I mean, we have done plenty of episodes about this before. Like we have called for better education. We have called for more I guess more awareness for this inequalities in society.
Yep.
And inequalities will exist, but we just need to be aware of it, and we need to try to go against it.
Correct.
But yeah, I do think that like we try not to at the same time while doing this create more issues in society. Don't like fix a problem by creating another problem. So like I do agree with her. She said that the way to solve this is that you make it in such a way that you don't even have to make the list.
Right.
Which is true.
This one I agree.
Which is true.
Yeah.
So
in fact, I think we mentioned this quite a few times in our previous episodes as well.
Yeah.
About creating a culture whereby people don't need to be afraid.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Like I think that's a good point lah. But it does. The only thing I would say is that it's a lot tougher than we think it is, and it's gonna take a very long time. So in the meantime, we do have to go through growing pains like these things.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for us to think about like when, like especially when this kind of situation happens, like where's our moral line lah, and where how much do we want? How much are we gonna accept?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I can see here obviously you are significantly more not say against it, but you are more wary about the consequences of these issues.
Yeah.
While I'm less wary, as you guys can clearly see. So in that sense, we already have a disagreement with like where our moral line stands with regards to this issue.
Yeah.
So just thinking about it, I think it's important because eventually I'm seeing a society where, like what you said, these things will be more systemized.
Yeah.
Systemize the word.
Yeah.
Basically, it will be made into a more formal system.
Yeah.
And the consequences that we have discussed so far in this episode will probably be now one day.
Hopefully lah.
Hopefully. And if that's the case, this was a great idea. And it's important for us to think about that as well. Rather than just I guess be too dismissive about.
Yeah,
about
no.
the
In no
issues.
ways, I'm trying to be dismissive about the potential issues because this was born out of a need.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which indicates at a problem.
Yes.
Right. But the approach was what resulted in creating something dangerous.
I agree. I think I think both of us can agree. Great idea. I think it's a good idea. And personally, I didn't think there was anything wrong, but maybe the execution fell short quite a bit. And unfortunately, if you guys ask us how the execution could have been better, I don't know. And I do think that maybe the asterisk might have helped a little bit. Maybe if guys were allowed to put an extra street, I don't know, might be better. I don't know. That was up to you guys.
You know what? Actually, I just suddenly had a novel idea.
Yeah.
Instead, right, maybe, right, we have a collaborative effort, right, where we have like a group of men, right? Hear me out, okay? Trusted male chaperones,
Sure.
right? Brothers, long-term partners and all that kind of things,
Sure.
right? And then if, let's say, you were to encounter somebody who you feel is iffy, you can like call a chaperone.com, right? And then these people come down.
I think there's already such a thing.
Yeah, call a chaperone.com or someone, right? And then this is all trusted people, right? Maybe they can even have like a body cam or some shit, right? And then they'll just be like, okay, I am around you. If you need help, you just do something and then I will step in.
I think that's already a thing.
I don't know if that's a thing, right? Call a chaperone.com or something. You know that kind?
I also saw someone in the Twitch chat that said that like, why don't we have a list of just good people?
No, like you know what I mean, right? So if like,
Maybe that'll be fun.
like maybe instead we should encourage the positive people instead of demonizing the negative people. So like the bad people, if you're going on a date and you're worried, right? You call your chaperone and your chaperone be like a guardian angel, maybe 20 meters away only, and then just be like, okay, I'm here already. If you ever need anything, you just take out your lipstick and drop it on the floor or something like that.
Some bars have that. I know. Some bars have that.
It's like we watch out for you.
If you
kind.
order this certain drink, we will call the police for you.
Correct.
Or something like that.
Correct.
But I think it depends lah. And I think it'll be cool if we had a wholesome other list of like
Black
nice
did say
people.
how to trust this chaperone. So that's where that's another issue, right?
Yeah.
But the trusting of these trusted chaperones are things that can be created.
Yeah.
As compared to bad people who cannot be reached anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I think all in all, do you have any final thoughts, Sean?
My final thoughts are very simple. Okay.
Yes.
Let's just end off with how we would advise our friends if our female friends turn up to us and ask us what we think.
Sure.
Okay, so for me, it would be very simple. I would encourage them to continue to have these kind of meaningful conversations with their friends to try to weed out potentially negative meets,
Yes.
right?
Sure.
But at the same time, if they are aware of the shit, I will actively encourage them to, if you want to look, but please don't contribute to it. Because not only is it dangerous, there is an inherent value in it, but it's very dangerous if you contributed to it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, for me, my final thought is that it, as I said plenty of times, it's a good idea, bad execution.
Yeah.
And I think it's maybe a good idea to revisit it once maybe technology has improved.
Yeah.
Or something, to try to make a better system out of this. Maybe the better system is having like to praising good people rather than putting down bad people, who knows. But I do think that as with everything, right, I think most of the social issues that we have discussed are always somewhere in like the grey area. It's never fully bad, neither is it ever fully good.
Yeah.
And if, I don't know, like I tend to believe that if like you are like super angry about it, right, there's like a slight chance that there might be a little bit of a bias in the end, on your end, because like you're not recognizing that maybe these people might really feel this is the only avenue out. And I think it's important to have their voice as well, because these people probably was driven to this point, like, especially if it's true, like it's sexual assault, as what April said.
Yeah.
Like there are some things that like we will never understand.
It's true.
I will never understand what, hopefully how it's like to be sexually assaulted, and like I can fully see how this might be the only way out for most people. And in that case, this is also something that we cannot dismiss. But I mean, at the same time, of course, there are all the issues that cannot be dismissed.
Yeah.
So it's always tough. Like I think we have to see on both ends as well. And I really wish that we had a woman here to talk about it.
Correct.
Like a friend or someone who is able to more eloquently share their own perspective on things. Because we are talking of it from the guy's perspective.
But COVID lah. Huh?
But COVID.
So once again, okay, for those of y'all that are watching this video, before, I don't want y'all to get too emotional about hearing this conversation, because we are okay with y'all disagreeing with us.
Definitely.
And we will want y'all to have this conversation with us so that we can see things from your point of view, because we probably missed
a shit ton of things.
We probably missed a lot of angles.
Yeah.
And the reason why we're even having this conversation is because we feel that these are worth talking about. And in future, we want to create a scenario where a repeat happens, right? Someone at least has like a reference point to springboard off to make it better. Because both of us can safely agree that this chat group was created with good intentions.
Great, yeah.
Okay, but because of the way it turned out, it becomes content for us to talk about.
Which is never good, to be honest. So just, if you are content on our episodes, probably not a good thing.
Yeah.
But I wish, I mean, even like for just now, I was talking about the whole, you were telling me about like the blackmail, the possibility of blackmail and everything. It's something that I missed. So I'm quite sure as during our conversation, there are some stuff that we missed as well. Especially because, as I said, plenty of times we are two guys. So if you guys think that we have missed out anything, do let us know in the comments down below. Have a nice conversation with us, and we will definitely be open to it, because we understand we are talking from a position of privilege right now.
Yep, and you don't worry, we will not come at you for contributing your points, and I trust that most of our viewers will not as well. If you're able to change our minds on certain key points that we've made, by all means, because I think that one is important for us to have a meaningful conversation.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, thank you guys so much. Today is a rather tough episode.
Yes.
It's always tough to do this type of episodes, John, because there's always a lot of like implications to the words that we say.
Exactly.
But I really hope that you guys enjoyed it nonetheless, and hope you guys are at least intellectually stimulated.
Yep.
Or at least don't hate us. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay safe. Don't get COVID. See you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.